Hello and welcome to episode 10 of the Golden Boots podcast. This is your host, Jorge Gonzalez. Our podcast is all about soccer, all things soccer. We love soccer. For episode 10 today, we have Jordan Hill. Jordan is originally from the Virginia area. He plays currently at FC Tucson and is a former Davidson Men's University College D1 player. Jordan, how are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. We were just chatting a second ago about the weather, man, right there in Arizona. How is it?
It's hot, man. For September, it's in the hundreds, high 90s. But at night it's pretty cool. You get like 70s, but
Yeah.
or morning. But
When is it like the coldest?
I'd say January. It
Okay.
probably gets down to like 40s
Oh,
at night.
really?
Yeah, yeah.
That's pretty cold, bro. I wouldn't. Okay.
Yeah, January is usually the coldest month, and then probably like 50s, maybe 60s during the day.
I gotcha. Cool,
Yeah.
man. So, one of the things that we like to do on this podcast is kind of showcase players, and it's actually a unique opportunity because you're the very first player that we have that's actually active, like actually playing right now. So, I'm very thankful to have you on the show, man. So, I kind of wanted you to kind of give us your background, your experiences, how you grew up in the sport, and how the career has led you to where you are now.
Yeah, no problem. I'm just happy to be here and share my experiences to help everyone in the soccer community. So I'll start from the beginning, kind of growing up. So my dad was in the military. He was in the army, so we kind of moved around a lot growing up.
Uh-huh.
And I always loved playing like every sport. As a kid, like basketball, track, soccer, of course, baseball, and then kind of going up. My dad retired in Virginia, so I stayed there, and then I kind of stuck with soccer and basketball
Okay.
through high school, and then I had more opportunities to play in college um, in Virginia.
Okay.
Um,
Tell us about that process. Like, so you play as a defender, correct?
yeah, I was primarily a center back in high school or a
Okay.
right back, and yeah, so primarily as defender.
Okay. Is there any player that you model your game after, or that you really enjoyed watching?
I really like. I mean, a lot of people might not like him, but Sergio Ramos, I really
Okay.
like.
I'm a
His,
Liverpool fan, so I definitely don't like him, man, and a Barca fan.
so I would say him
Uh-huh.
and Vincent Company from Man City.
Okay. He was a
Uh,
beast. Yeah.
yeah, he was a beast. He was a really good leader and of course great player. So and he was calm in the back. So try
Okay.
to model my game a little bit after him. But I like to have my own persona on the field, of course.
Of course, man. I mean, there's people that we can look up to, but at the end of the day, it's a little bit about our style, right?
Yeah, you gotta be yourself. You have
Nice.
to be
What was the recruiting process like for Davidson? How did you get there?
Okay, yeah. So I played in the developmental academy in high school.
Uh huh.
My my freshman, sophomore, and junior years, and so they always had a showcase down in Dallas. And so the recruiting process, you always want to email coaches and have a highlight tape. So I emailed, Davidson was one of many schools I emailed. Hey, my name's Jordan Hill. I play as a defender. Here's my number. And, of course, schools want to know about your academic, rigor as well. So, the head coach came to my game down in the showcase, and he was very interested, emailed me back, and kind of took off from there because it was the only like real offer I had in high
Okay.
school that like solidified, and it was the first offer I had at the time. So I just took it, and it was a great opportunity and turned out for the best.
That's awesome, man. That's pretty cool. Tell us about like your first year there, man. What were some of the differences that you noticed from like playing high school soccer to college?
Yeah, definitely the ball was moving a lot faster than in high school. and then everyone was pretty athletic. Um, but I noticed the game, some teams, everyone had their own style of play. Like some really played direct and they had a lot of big guys. So I would say like the biggest jump from, high school to college was like definitely the physicality.
Okay.
Being a defender like myself, I was kind of used to being, a very physical player.
Uh-huh.
That was one of my strengths, I would say, that helped propel me to the next level.
Okay, that's pretty cool, man. I think so you quickly notice, is there anything that you did like physically? You said, okay, the ball's moving faster. Like, hey, was speed something that you worked on? Strength? What?
Uh,
Any of those things?
yeah, so kind of going into my freshman year, I was, thinking the game's going to be, these are going to be I'm going up guys that are 4 years or 5 years older than me.
Uh huh.
So, I'm going to have to be in great physical shape. So I had like a one-on-one trainer. And then he kind of helped me get ready physically to work on, my speed and my jumping ability, which kind of helped me, win some headers and score some goals later on in my career. But then, of course, I realized later down the line, in college, you have to work just as hard or even harder on, your technical ability.
Yeah.
That's even more important.
That's pretty good, man. I think a lot of people, one of the things that I like showcasing on here, that it actually takes a lot of work, right?
Yeah.
Like college soccer is pretty much a job, right?
Yeah.
On top of whatever academic if things that you've got going on, like no, like you still got to put in the grind. So I was asking you about like your day to day, like at Davidson. Could you kind of tell me a little bit about that, like how you balance school and soccer? Like, what do you remember about those days?
Yeah. So planning and was a huge part. Always trying to make a schedule or have a routine. So you try to do the same thing every day.
Yeah.
Even though your classes may be different, but probably a typical day during the week, I would say you may have two or three classes. From the morning to the afternoon with lunch in the middle, and of course try to eat a good balanced healthy breakfast or a snack in the morning just because it's a long day, so
you,
you need some fuel. um, and then we usually practice about 4 or 4:30 in the afternoon, and everyone will try to get to the locker room early, or try to go out early and do some extra work before practice started, just to keep working hard and try to break into the 11, or just continue to get better. And then from after practice ends about 6 or so, and then everyone will go to commons, which is like the dining hall, to eat dinner together, and then rest of the night usually spent doing some homework.
okay.
Sometimes a lot me and some of my other teammates would go to the library. Sometimes we might not get the most work done just because like us being there together.
You're just chilling with the
Uh,
boys, having a good time. I get it.
yeah, just chilling with the boys, man, and having a good time in the library. But those are the memories you remember. Once you graduate and years down the line.
Yeah, bro. And I think it makes it
Yeah.
more special too because you all had something in common, which was being like athletes at a college. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, we all had the same struggles. With we shared the same experiences, so I definitely agree with you there.
Nice. Yeah. So something that we haven't touched on these podcasts that you just talked a little bit about that I want you to talk a little bit more about is like breaking into the 11. What's that like? What's the mindset like? What do you think are the things that players need to do to be in that 11 and consistently play in it?
Yeah, so breaking an 11, I think the biggest thing is it's very performance based. Like you have to perform. If you're a defender, you have to get clean sheets. You have to complete your passes when you're 1v1s, and just be a dominant force in the back. So they don't really have a good reason to take you out.
Okay.
Um, and then the midfielders and forward that's scoring goals, getting assists, and just completing your passes if that's the style of play that your coach wants to play.
Yeah.
Um, and then also, I think a big thing is like having the right mindset is it's very big, especially as you're not currently in the 11 and you want to be in that spot.
Mm.
You know, just having that goal of, having wanting to be in the 11, and then, how are you going to do that? So, you have to maybe kind of look yourself in the mirror and say, am I really working hard enough
Mm.
off the field, or am I doing the right things off the field to take care of my body? Um, because a lot of times, just looking in the mirror and having that self reflection, you can learn from yourself, and you just got to put in the work also, especially if you're not where you want to be. Staying after practice, getting extra lifts in, and then talking to the coach and asking, hey, what can I improve on? Where are some of my weaknesses? And then working on those things, every single day at training. I mean, as much as you'd love to train every day, your body needs at least one day of rest.
Yeah.
It's crucial.
I think that's important, bro. Everything that you said, the mindset, I think something that people overlook too is like speaking to the coach, because you're exactly right, bro. Like every coach has a style of how they want to play soccer. Like if you take a look at the bigger leagues too, like you have Mourinho who's more defensive, then you got Klopp who's that high press, like going forward. Like I think understanding your coach and seeing what they tactically want out of every player, or the type of soccer they're trying to play, is so important too, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then knowing how you can fit in there, and then kind of just going to talk and having an honest, man to man conversation. Hey, what am I doing wrong? I mean, it's a tough conversation to have because no one likes to hear what you're doing wrong.
Yeah.
It's a little bit takes a little bit of pride, take the pride out of you. But I mean, I think there was one guy in college that he was my class. He graduated with me. I think he perfectly, exemplified, starting. He didn't play much my freshman year, and he played a little bit my sophomore year, but his junior year was his breakout year. And I think the things that he did every day to try to get into 11, and he ultimately, was probably maybe our best attacker in my junior year.
What did you
From
see?
not playing.
What did you see from him that freshman and sophomore year that led to him becoming who he was his junior year?
I think his sophomore year he had a bit of an awakening, and then he was like, yeah, I really want to. He got a little bit more serious about the game, and he was like, yeah, I really want to break into 11 and play more because I love the game, and you only have 4 years to play.
Yep.
So kind of did that self reflection, and me and him came really close because I started, getting a little bit more serious about. I realized I had the potential after college to play, and I realized, I needed to put in some work off the, regular training hours to, try to get better. But there was this guy. He's currently plays in USL Championship with FC Tulsa. But he has like a YouTube channel. His name's Matt Sheldon. So my friend, he began to follow him, online, and like his daily, routine. He has a great story of kind of where he got to be. He just put in the work every day. Did like little technical drills, different types of shooting drills. So just basically finding out what you have to improve on and just work on that every single day. So I think that's just the biggest thing.
Okay, yeah. There's a lot of good stuff that you said there, man. I mean, it's so true, bro. Like at the end of the day, I think the most important thing is putting in the work, right?
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, it's hard because you may think you're working hard, but then you might not really be working hard as you might think.
Yeah, that's true, man. Because there's like if you're the best player on the team, it's kind of bad because no one's trying to elevate your level, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's trying to get to your level, but there's no one pushing you to be the best, right? And so working hard is is from a perspective.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you just can't. I just think the biggest thing is you can't just be content with where you're at, and you gotta just have that. It's all about your mindset. Like you gotta
100%.
want to be better, and then after practice, putting in the extra work, or if we have an off day, if you didn't get as much minutes as you wanted out of the game, maybe going out to the field for an hour and then working on those things that you need to improve on.
Yeah.
And then I think in college too, a big time to improve is the spring because the season's in the fall. So the spring, the NCAA puts like certain limitations on how much you can train as a team, but I think it's a big time for individual growth. I think a lot of
Mm.
people overlook just because everyone's training maybe like 3 days out of the week and lifting like 2 days out of the week, and then you have the rest of the time to do as you want. Like it's
Yeah.
up to you how you want to use that time.
That's pretty cool. That kind of shows you like the personal responsibility and the personal desire that you really have, right, to put in that work, because no one's asking you to. Like,
Yeah, no one's asking to. It's just something that's inside of yourself to just to raise the level each time, get better.
that's awesome, man. So tell us about your transition from college to actually playing pro. I know you mentioned to me that you went to Orlando first, correct?
Yeah, I was in my first year after graduating from Davidson was in Orlando City last year. But yeah, I'll talk to you about kind of my transition. So I told you, or as I mentioned previously, I probably my sophomore year I started putting in extra work, and even in the summers to try to make that jump. I didn't really know if it was going to happen or not. I just wanted to better myself. So I think that was a huge part. And then, academically, I had to finish school, and I wanted to finish school a semester early because with the American pro soccer, it usually starts in February, March.
Yeah.
And most people have school or, they graduate in May. So I would have to finish the semester early. So I had two goals in mind, like finish the semester early and then, work as hard as I can to, try to make that jump. So kind of finding that balance was key. But, I had a good senior year, I would say, for me personally. And then as a group, I think we had probably my best year out of our 4 years. We finished second in our conference at the end of the year, and then it's always helps when your team does well, and
Yeah.
it just makes your individual performance shine even more. So then after the season, I was able to graduate in December and finish the semester early, and it's tough making that jump from college to pro. So I didn't really know what will happen. I didn't really understand the process of what it takes. But I went to a couple tryouts. Some teams have pro tryouts where you get invited to combines. It's common to try to make that jump from college to pro. So I went to the Orlando City. They had like a 2-day like pro tryout, and I did well. And before I had sent the general manager my soccer resume and a highlight tape from college, and so he wasn't just like out of the blue. Here's this kid. He kind of has an idea on who I am and if he's interested. So I just went down there, just didn't know really what to expect. I was just gonna come be myself. And after the first day of tryouts, I was offered a contract. I performed well,
That's
and
awesome.
I guess they liked what they saw. And I didn't sign on the spot, but I told them, hey, I want to think about it with my family, and talk to my coach, who's still a really good friend of mine, see what he thinks. And so I gave it some time, and then I went to another tryout, Richmond Kickers. They're a pro soccer team. They're also in the USL, and I got offered a contract by them as well. So these two teams, I had kind of decide, hey, where am I going to go? And the interesting about Richmond is it has a Davidson connection because my head coach from Davidson, while all 4 years there, he ended up being the team president of the whole Richmond organization.
Oh
So
wow.
so it was a tough decision for me personally. but ultimately I decided to go to Orlando.
Mm,
I had some family down there, and it's a MLS organization. So I just thought it would be a good fit for me. I'm very like family oriented, so they can come to my games.
that's
So
awesome.
yeah, that's kind of my journey through college to pro.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And now you're in Arizona, correct?
Yeah, now I'm in Arizona. Um, so Orlando was a good experience. I enjoyed it. I thought I really grew as a player and as a person. And the college game is a lot different. It's very performance based. Like it's not just like, oh, you have a bad year like in college and then see you next year. But I learned a lot. The ball moves a lot faster, and then everyone's like in good
Super fit.
physical. Yeah, super fit. Everyone's touch, their left and right foot are just as good. So it all comes down to the very small things, in each match that separates like who makes the less mistakes. And of course, you have very talented individuals, of course.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so it was a really good first year. I thought for me personally, we didn't perform the best, but I learned a lot.
Yeah, I think that's even better, man. I mean, like, not that you didn't perform the best, but like the amount of learning that it takes, right? Because you
Yeah,
see sometimes things happen, but you're like, okay, like, what can I learn from this experience to make myself better, right?
exactly. And I think I kind of took that whole Orlando experience and took it here, and I think it's helped me personally as well, and helped the team, and then some of the individuals as well. But I think last year, um, when we talked about earlier about breaking into 11, I kind of like exemplified that in Orlando because I wasn't playing as much probably the first quarter or first half of the season, and then I had to work hard, and then finally got my opportunity and just stayed in the 11 pretty much for the remainder of the season.
That's awesome.
But it was an interesting year because our coach, two of our coaches got fired probably about mid-season, and that's always tough.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, with the transition.
What do you think players can do to adjust to when things happen like that?
Um, I think you just take it as a new opportunity because it's a fresh set of eyes
Yeah,
that sees you, so you have to make a good first impression. Because first impressions are some say are lasting impressions.
very true.
Um, so I just think you have to see it as a new opportunity and try to make the most of it when you have new coaches come in because they might not have the same biases that other coaches have, or might not see the same thing or have the same style of play.
Mm,
So you just have to take it as it is and control what you can control, and that's your
yeah,
work rate, your effort, how you carry yourself.
that's good, man. Yeah, it's like pressing restart, right?
Yeah, it is. It is honestly just a brand new clean sheet of paper pulling out,
Yeah,
basically.
that's awesome, man. Tell us your favorite thing right now about playing in Arizona.
Um, my favorite thing, I'd probably say I have two favorite things. I would
Uh-huh.
probably say just like the culture of the team. We all really get along very well, and everyone's trying to make each other better,
Okay.
and we're all trying for the same goal. So I think that's one because it's kind of hard finding that. I think the culture in college is different from pro because it's a rotating locker room. Like sometimes you have new players come in on loan.
Yeah, that's
Like
true.
it's just not the same environment as college is because you always have new players coming in and out. And then the second thing I really like about Tucson is the weather along with the facilities. I think those two things are great. Like it's sunny every day, beautiful grass.
You don't get that everywhere,
Can't
man.
Yeah, and then you have the mountain view in the back. Like you can't beat that.
Okay.
Yeah, just the mountain view in the back, and just the training environment.
That's cool, man. I think that's something that like I never considered too. Like yeah, like when you're playing pro, like players come and go a lot, right? Like people come on
Yeah,
loan, like you said, things happen, and I think like I think that just makes it a little bit more difficult to just keep that group unity. But like when you understand that, right? Like it's just better, right?
yeah. When you understand that, it is better. And then when everyone's vying for the same thing, and you have high character people, I think it just makes the group that much stronger. Even though it's tough, like you have things happening in the locker room all the time.
Yeah,
Not like college where it's pretty consistent. I
yeah,
mean, you have transfers, but it's not the same.
yeah. You're right. Awesome, man. Well,
And
what
then
would be your your best piece of advice for somebody that wants to make it pro?
I would say my best piece of advice for anyone that wants to make it to the pro level is you can do anything
Mm,
if you put your mind to it. It's all about your mindset. And I think if you rely on just what you get in training with your coach, you might not get as much out of it as you think you would if you put in, those extra hours outside of training. Because that's what really separates you. Because then if you think about it, you're really just doing what everyone else is doing, but you're not making, any progress outside of that. Like you're on the same path as them, even though you may, have different backgrounds. But if you put in that extra 15 minutes or 10 minutes or however much time, you think your body needs every day, or, give your body one day of rest, I think
yeah,
you can accomplish whatever you want
that
in life.
slight edge, man. It's the little things that make the biggest difference, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you put in like 15 minutes a day, like that adds up over the week, and then over months, and then over years, you're exceeding, what everyone else is doing.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, man. Thank you so much for stopping by today and coming on the Golden Boots podcast, man. We really appreciate that insight from a pro perspective that you gave us.
Yeah, no problem. I'm just happy to be here and enlighten everyone and share my experiences, try to make the game better for everyone.
Awesome.